What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P, and we are back here once again. You already know what it is. It is me in front of TV. And when you see that, you know that one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. Number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Now, you may be asking yourself, how, Don, how, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's a very simple process, and I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you right now. You got to smash that like button. Got to subscribe, got to share. And once you've done that, you have kept your news pragmatic for the Lions, no matter what order you've done it in. And also, sharing is caring. So once you have shared this stream with your uncles, your cousins, your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunties, your friends, your brothers, your nephews, your nieces, your neighbors, you name it, then you have indeed cared about those people. What up, though, Detroit D? All right, so we got some things that we're going to have to get into today. We are going to be talking about the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because that is what we are on to. We are off of the Chiefs. That was what that was. It's over. It's done with. Brian Branch is suspended. Juju Smith-Schuster's still a biatch. And the Chiefs still didn't get any penalties called on them, and so on and so forth, and however, and what have you. Okay, that's done. It's in the rearview mirror. We will put that to the side, and then we will get to all that we need to get to. What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? He says, keep up the hard work, Don. I will definitely do that. I appreciate you, my guy. All right, so today we are going to be talking about the Detroit Lions and their secondary situation, because as you can see from the thumbnail, the secondary is in a shambles. Okay? It's in a shambles. Why is it in a shambles? Well, we know Brian Branch is out. We know that Kirby Joseph, okay? And I just was listening to the press conference. I didn't get exactly the clip. So let me see if I can just get that section. And if you haven't heard about it, straight from Dan Campbell's mouth and not from mine. Let me see if I can get this. 1 second. All right, so here is the section of the press conference when Dan Campbell is asked a question. What up, though, Lisa? And he's asked a question about Kirby Joseph and Taylor Decker. Here it goes.
Maybe the answer is as simple as the injuries are different, but you've taken an approach with Decker where you've tried to get it calmed down to get him for the stretch run. With Kirby, you're kind of letting him dictate and play through it. You're trusting his opinion. What's the decision point there with shutting him down and letting it get right for you the stretch run?
Yeah, I mean it'll be the same. I mean I would say it's very much the same. If it's something we feel like, first of all, he can't produce, right? I mean, that'll always go that way. How much worse are you making this injury? Is it going to make it significantly worse? You're not going to have him by the end of the year. Okay, well, that doesn't make sense. All right, well, what if it's, you may not make it worse, but just being a little bit better is going to help his production go way up. The production is not there, right? He's not, A, maybe he can't finish the game. B, the guy behind him would be better off playing. So you have to weigh every one of those. And so we'll do that with Kirby. I mean, we'll reassess here. We saw the game the other day. He tried to gut through it, played most of the game. And look, it wasn't his best performance, but he'd tell you that too. He was giving us what he had. And so we'll have to reassess.
Officiating is in here.
All right. So that was Dan Campbell talking about Kirby Joseph, and we don't know anything. Basically, he just said he's a game time decision. Okay, so I don't know if Taylor Decker is going to be back. Speaking of Taylor Decker, I don't know if he's going to be back against the Buccaneers. I don't think so. So what I'm leaning towards is he's probably going to be back after the bye. Um, he said there's a lot of people that are going to be back after the bye. Ali McNeil. Before I get into the Lane McNeil, I thought there was a particularly funny moment in the press conference when someone asked, they said, well, Marcus Davenport is eligible to come off of IR this week. What's that? He was like, no, not at all. Basically, like there's no chance. He said after the bye, and then he started talking about we're going to be looking real good here at the end of November, December. So yeah, keep Marcus Davenport on the shelf, man, and just if it depending on what our record is down the stretch, okay, if we're making a playoff run, okay, and I'm saying if we're making a playoff run, meaning we need some help, right? If it's not going the way that we expect it to go, because right now we're not thinking of making a playoff run. We're thinking that we're already in the playoffs. We're thinking that we're going to win the NFC North, and that's that. We're thinking that we're going to win 12, 13 games, maybe even 14, and that's that. So there's no run, no stretch run that we need to get, you know what I mean? When I think of making a playoff run, I think back to 2022, right? When we had to win what? Out of our last 10 games, we won 8, but we had to win at least 9 in order to get in the playoffs. That's what I think about when I think of a run. So no, the expectation is the playoffs. So when the expectation is the playoffs, for me, in my mind, you're not making a run. You are just upholding your expectation. You're meeting your expectation. So if Marcus Davenport is needed in a situation where we do in fact stumble and we have to make a run, our playoff lives may be hanging in the balance, then I would say bring Marcus Davenport in for that run. I mean, because we may need to win 2 games and he'll help us do that, and then he'll be out on IR for the rest of the season and the postseason and all that other stuff. So that's why I say, just save him for the playoffs, because if you can get the number 1 seed, okay, if you can get the number 1 seed, you only need to play 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. Okay. So we would have to say, like, the divisional round, we can't bring him back. We can have him play in the NFC Championship game to help us win the NFC Championship game, and then we can have him play in the Super Bowl to help us win that. And then you can not re-sign him and you can let him go on his merry way. I think he should retire after that. So that's my thing about Marcus Davenport. Safety if they need me. I don't think Coach wanted to tip his hand with Kirby Joseph. With Kirby, I mean, I don't think there's any really hand tipping. It's just he's a game time decision. I mean, we saw what happened to him in the game on Sunday night. We saw that he needed to be helped off the field. He went in, he got a shot of Toradol, like I said on the broadcast, and then he was out there running around, moving laterally, forward, backwards. So, if he plays on Monday night, gonna need another shot of Toradol, probably before the game to get through it. So that's why I said game time decision. Aleem McNeil, they painting my boy Branch as the Draymond Green of the NFL SMH. Shiv, how do you want them to paint Brian Branch? You let me know. And I will let you, and I will hit you with a number. But you let me know how you want them to paint Brian Branch. All right, Aleem McNeil. Now Dan Campbell also said Aleem McNeil was looking good, but he was also looking good last week and the week before that, and he's physically ready. He's got his legs under him, so he's very, very hopeful that he will play. And he said, he's being facetious, and he's like, where are we at now? I don't know, 58, 42, 48, 52, whatever it is. He was talking about percentages. Okay. Also, you have an extra day because we're playing on Monday Night Football. You don't have to play on Sunday. If we don't see Aleem McNeil out here in Detroit on Monday Night Football, of course you won't see him until after the bye. But I think it would be a tragic miscarriage of justice for Aleem McNeil not to be in the middle of that defensive line trying to stop Baker Mayfield from doing anything. Now, the one point that I can make is this. Aleem McNeil couldn't stop Baker Mayfield from doing anything last year. Okay? So if in the event, I'm just prefacing this, in the event that Aleem McNeil doesn't play, and then Baker Mayfield runs wild up the middle, like he did last year, because no one maintained gap integrity, right? No one maintained their rush lanes. No one was disciplined enough to do so. And I'm not going to say then we lose. I'm just going to say he just has a day where he kind of punished us running up the middle. I don't want to hear a single Lions fan say that, if we had Aleem McNeil, that wouldn't have happened. That's false because it happened last year when we had him. Okay? Now, am I poo-pooing Aleem McNeil? No. But what I'm telling you is this. If the offense or the defensive line as a whole does not prioritize rush lane integrity, does not prioritize gap integrity, Baker Mayfield is going to make you pay. That's it, right? There are still people out there. Okay. There are still people out there. I'll get to your comments in a second. That think that Baker is Baker from Cleveland. They think that he's Baker from Los Angeles. They think that he's Baker from Carolina. This is Baker from Tampa Bay. Okay? This is the resurgent Baker Mayfield. This is the Baker Mayfield in his final form. Because we forget sometimes that you can start out your career poorly, right? And you can finish it quickly. Or you can finish it, because I'm thinking of something else. You can finish it on a high note. Okay? So we have the saying in Michigan about the weather, right? In like a lion, out like a lamb. Right? So Baker Mayfield is the opposite. He was in like a lamb and out like a lion. So I'm not going to be one of those people. You will not hear, if you come to this channel, okay, and you want to talk to Motor City Don P, and you want Motor City Don P's opinion about what Baker Mayfield could do, would do, might do, may do, and I'm going to tell you, he can do everything. He might do everything. He may do everything. You got to stop Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is balling out of control. BOOCing. Okay? He's doing the damn thing. That's who we got to deal with, bro. He is the leader in the clubhouse for the MVP right now. That's who we're dealing with. We're not dealing with Cleveland Baker. I heard someone today say, "Oh yeah, well, he fumbles the ball a lot and he throws a lot of interceptions." His team is 5-1 and he ain't doing that. His team's 5-1 and he ain't doing that. He literally on 3rd and 14 last week got out of 2 sacks in the backfield and then ran and broke some more tackles and picked up 15 yards on 3rd and 14 with his legs. Is he the same as Lamar Jackson? No, he's not the same as Lamar Jackson. Do we need to put the same type of pressure on him? Do we need to have a spy? Do we need to do all that? Probably. Because he is a mobile quarterback. He was 5 carries for 34 yards against us last season, straight up the gut. Straight up the gut. And he scored a touchdown with his legs, straight up the gut. Because we did not maintain gap integrity. We did not maintain rush lane integrity. And that is going to be a point of emphasis, I can assure you, as we get into this game. All right, let me get some of your comments in here. Detroit D says, we have to stay with the run game. I like what I've been seeing from Gibbs as far as being patient running the ball. We do have to stay with the run game. We do not want to see Jared Goff throw the ball 50 times like he did last season against his team. Well, Mr. Triple Single himself, Draymond Green. They got all these other hotheads, but I get it. He's got all these fines. He's giving them a reason to make an example out of him. Yes, 13 to be exact. 13 fines. 13 fines, and last year an ejection, and after and during the ejection, while being ejected, a double bird to the Lambeau Field faithful. Okay, so unfortunately, he's got a reputation. So you're saying Aleem McNeil probably shouldn't show up Monday night wearing a sweatsuit on the Lions sidelines? He should not. He should not. If he shows up on the Lions sidelines, he should be suited up, ready to play football. He should be wearing the number 54 black jersey. I'm guessing they're going to wear their blacks. It's a primetime game, Monday Night Football at Ford Field. I would think that we're going to see the Motor City Muscles. Guess what? Branch has a reputation for making more plays than almost any other player in football. He does have that reputation as well, but they can't fine him for that. They can't penalize him for that. They can't suspend him for that. We know that in Detroit. Other teams know that play against him. Packers fans surely know that because we traded with the Packers to get him. So, unfortunately, his reputation for the other stuff precedes him, and that's what happened with him. Like, there's all the what's the dude's name? Tierre Tart that slapped Travis Kelce, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, why wasn't this a suspension?" Because Tierre Tart doesn't have a reputation, and also Tierre Tart did it right after the or during the play, like right at the whistle or whatever the case may be. So it was in the field of play, and my man didn't even get ejected. So if he didn't even get ejected, why are people going back there and looking at that as a, hey, well, if he did this, why did they do that to Brian Branch? He didn't even get ejected. If you do not get ejected, there's zero chance you're getting suspended. And he didn't get ejected because it was an open hand. Brian Branch's was an open hand, but it was in the handshake line. You do not serve up an open hand in the handshake line. That's just not, we don't do that. We don't. You know? So that is what that is. All right. Dude is definitely a stud. He plays all over. He's a phenomenal football player, but he's got to rein it in. Okay, he's got to rein in the emotions. But Dan Campbell said that they, he knows that. He knows that they spoke and everything. All right, next up, we got to talk about some things. The Detroit Lions have signed an ex-Chief, an ex-Dolphin, an ex-Commander to play in their secondary. Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller has been signed by the Detroit Lions to the practice squad, but we already know how this works. By Monday, He will be on the active roster. He will be promoted. And he will be in football shape, and he will be out there ready to go, because we do not have DJ Reed. We do not have Terrion Arnold. We do not have Brian Branch. We may not have Kirby Joseph. We'll just have to see. As we said, he's a game time decision. So Kendall Fuller has come in to give us some help at the cornerback position. I don't know what Trey Flowers gives you on the outside, because as we saw all Sunday night, it was pretty much Rock Ya-Sin on the opposite side of Amik Robertson. So I don't know if Trey Hendrickson. I don't know if Trey Flowers is any good. I don't know if they trust him. I don't know what it is, but it didn't seem as though he was better than Rock Ya-Sin. I feel like Kendall Fuller is better than Rock Ya-Sin. I feel like he's going to be able to come in there and give us some sort of something. He's 30, okay? Like 30 for a running back is old, but a cornerback, come on, bro. Cornerback, you're not hitting every play. You're not hitting every single play. You know what I'm saying? So if he's 30, he's 2 years younger than Arthur Millette. Did y'all see Arthur Millette out there on Sunday with all them damn wristbands all up his arms? I wish them wristbands would have given him the ability to play and look like he wasn't lost out there. I wish that, but they didn't. They didn't. I know I said I'm going to stop talking about Kansas City, but, it came up. It popped up. Slim and Cheddar. All right. So we know Kendall Fuller, man. He's had a decent career. He's a Super Bowl winner. He won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs and all that jazz. I think he's going to come in and he's going to help us. We don't have too many more options. If you look at the free agent market for cornerbacks. Sorry, someone's trying to talk over me. If you look at the free agent market for cornerbacks, it ain't. Nah, we ain't got nothing going on. So getting Kendall Fuller off the couch or wherever, that is a win for the Detroit Lions and the secondary, which is not going well. Taylor May says, on the plus side, Baker Mayfield is throwing to rookies and second-year wide receivers. Maybe the Lions' second and third unit DBs can hold their own. Facts. What up, though, E-Fog? So this comment pretty much it goes basically directly into what I wanted to talk about next. You know how most games are decided by strength on strength, strength against strength. Okay. Our running a game against their vaunted, defensive line who only averages, 0.2 yards per carry or whatever craziness that they come up with, right? This is the first game in a long time that I have been able to say the team with the strongest weakness will win this game, right? It's less weak than the other team's weakness. Because as Taylor May just pointed out, everybody is out on Baker's Mayfield weapons chart. He's got Rachaad White as the last man standing. But then there is also a possibility that Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka could play. I've heard mixed opinions about Emeka Egbuka's the severity of his hamstring injury. Right after the game, Florio reported that pending an MIR, it wasn't expected to be serious. Right? So it was like it wasn't expected him to miss any time other than the end of the game or the rest of the game that he missed. Now I'm hearing that the time frame for him to return is 2 to 3 weeks. And apparently Todd Bowles agrees with this and expects him to be out for a few games. But it's not official that he's been made out. That he's been designated as out. So they'll have to officially do it for us to be able to go, okay, he's not playing. Mike Evans supposed to be getting an MIR this week. Why did I keep calling it MIR? MRI. He's supposed to be getting an MRI this week to check if he's able to come back. You know, his injury was a hamstring injury as well. So he's getting an MRI on his hamstring to see if he's good to go on Monday night. Now, we don't wish injury on anybody. I just hope that Mike Evans finds it in his heart to just go have a vacation and come back, you know, come back next week, you know, when they go play whoever, because we don't care because they're not in our division. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to be in our division, the NFC Central, and it seems as though the NFL is trying to get the gang all back together. Remember how we had that stretch of every year playing the Seattle Seahawks? It feels like we are entering into our Tampa Bay Buccaneers arc right now, where we continue to play each other. Maybe the league wanted to give Tampa Bay a bit of a, I don't know, less of an advantage because they're playing in the NFC South, and the NFC South is cheeks. Booty butt, cheeks, rump. All right, let's see what y'all got. Cade Otton about to eat. Not if Enzo's covering him. What up, though, Jody? It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, okay, Ron. Yeah, when Jake Moody remembers who he is and he catches another case of the Moody's, then we'll see. Big Mike take another week off. Weather is feeling nicey down here in FL right now. Mid-80s, low to no humidity. Mid-80s is crazy, bro. I don't know how people do it. Like, really, I know I lived in Qatar for 15 years. I know that. And it was hot, miserably hot there. So that's why, like, I'm not trying to have no semblance of heat. It's supposed to be 80 degrees here today. And then the temperature is supposed to plummet on Friday. So that's what we're dealing with. So it's like 80 today and probably be 50 on Friday. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how y'all do the weather. The Buccaneers face the Saints after the Lions. Then they got to bye so they can wait on Mike Evans. Facts. They can wait. Nope, you don't. Just stay yourself in Florida. The Lions beat the Bears this year, so I guess y'all are sucky, huh? I guess. I stay in shape year round because of the weather. Drink water and soak in the sun. I don't like the sun. The sun is my enemy. What up, though, Brandy Coffee? Yeah, okay. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it. All right, I'm gonna leave that comment up there. So yes, it is going to be weakness versus weakness. Everybody is injured on Baker Mayfield's weapons chart, and everybody is injured in our secondary. So it's going to be a bunch of backups. It's going to be a bunch of guys that we haven't seen play before. and it's going to be the same for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But then they've got Tez. I was calling him Tez Walker, but we said he's like Baker Mayfield's, not Baker Mayfield's, Bo Nix's adopted brother. So I feel like the Lions, Dan Campbell made a comment during his press conference. I don't think it was a serious comment, but some people took it as serious. He was like, we could play with one safety and 4 linebackers for all I care. He was talking about basically how it's next man up and blah, 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 blah. So that's when he made the comment of playing about how he made the comment about playing 4 linebackers. But I don't, he wasn't serious about like, this is the plan. You know what I mean? All right. See, look at this headline. It says, I'm tired of people doing stuff. Lions player in post-game fight claims Chiefs were bullying him. That makes you look weak. Now he also, Dan Campbell did also address the trick play. He said he didn't want to talk about it, but he said it was a really sore spot for him, but he did say that he took full responsibility. So obviously he doesn't agree with the call. All right. Now the crazy thing, right, is I was watching this press conference after I had already heard the news for stuff. Dan Campbell mentioned in this press conference, he was like about the people that they still have, and he was like, we still got Strick, as in Lawrence Strickland. And after he made that comment, Lawrence Strickland was waived from the team. I'm not laughing at Lawrence Strickland being waived and losing his job. I'm just saying your coach just said we still have you, and then 30 minutes later you don't have a team anymore. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a person passing around at Brad Holmes' apology form on Twitter. And it was sparked by Zadarius Smith retiring. Has Zadarius Smith released a statement on his retirement? I just want to know. Has he released a statement on his retirement? Because if he did, someone can tell me exactly what the issue is. Why did you retire? Why did you retire? And I can almost guarantee that had he been retained by the Detroit Lions, that he wouldn't have retired. All right. So yeah, I just don't think I don't think he would have retired. As I said yesterday, he begged and pleaded to come back to Detroit. Brad Holmes hit him with the stiff arm. Hit him with the Neo. No, you can't come back. And then he retired. So like I said, I don't think it would have happened had he been signed by the Lions. All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown takes responsibility for dropping the pass. Of course, you have to take responsibility for dropping the pass. All right. I'll say it, Don. F the Bears hard. Ben and Caleb divorce loaded. So I was watching that game last night in preparation for the NFC North report. Caleb Williams is the ugliest runner of the football I've ever seen, bro. It's torturous to watch. Like I can't watch it. All right. The kid who caught the deep ball from Baker Mayfield, yeah, it's Tez Smith, or I don't know. You know what? Hey, I might throw Monty back there on defense because I don't give him the ball on defense, So they did ask him about that, and he said that he would like to get them more balanced. He said he had hoped that Monty would get more carries, and they'd be able to work him in. But obviously, with the way that the second half went, because he said in the second half, but the way that the second half went, that was not going to be an option. Hold on, I'll be right back. I've got to wet the whistle. All right, we back. Bullying is the NFL, not ladies lingerie league. Yeah, so they basically they took what Brian Branch said and they spun it in a way which made it sound like he was crying. He was he said he was like, yeah, people be doing stuff in front of the refs and the refs don't catch it. It's like they be trying to bully me out there. And basically he's about to say I ain't gonna take it, but he was like, nah, it was childish. I shouldn't have done it. Can't do that, right? So then they took that and made it sound really girly and really like whiny. All right. Ron, you better run. You better run. It's coming. Lots of upsets this season. In fact, hey, the NFL is a crazy, crazy place. I told you. I told you it was coming, Ron. because Ron is a troll, and basically the podcasts that the Bears have are not as interesting as mine, and he probably doesn't get to too much interaction um with the fans over there, so he comes over here. Caleb, he's bro, I don't know. It's like he just runs really awkwardly. And it's just like it's ugly, man. It's torturous to watch. That's facts. That is facts. Goff owns the North after Bears forever. Facts. Monty had 2 receptions for 37 yards and is a great pass blocker as well. I really don't care to hear their coach speak. Play the man. It's back-to-back coordinators who abandoned him. So I'm actually gonna say I feel like Osama actually used him a whole lot more, and that was the reason why the question was asked, because it seems as though, well, not seems as though, it's very, very apparent that um the pendulum has swung to Khamir Gibbs. However, I don't understand this thing here. Why neither one of the coordinators, like we've seen 2 back sets with Monty in now, and I think in multiple games, which we never saw with Osama. But the thing is, I don't understand why they don't do more of them. This is what I was talking about when I said this offense there, it seems like there is a bit of an issue getting playmakers involved. It's like, okay, I was watching the all 22 film breakdown of the Chiefs game. A lot of what he was breaking down on regarding the offense was Jameson Williams running clear out routes. And so that's different than the defense allocating such and such amount of players to him in coverage. It's more so you are playing into the defense's hands. You're like, okay, well, we see that they're just gonna cover you over the top and they're just gonna do such and such. I need to get a studio, guys. I do. They're gonna cover you over the top, and they're gonna have however many 2-3 defenders. So you're just running clear out routes in order to get the other people open, instead of even trying to say, okay, we're gonna get JMO a short crosser. We're gonna get him a slant over the middle. We're gonna get him, into the quick game so we can get the ball into his hands. I feel like there are concessions being made, right? And I think that is messing with the offense, because again, it's eye test. Yeah, I understand 35 points a game, but did you see 35 points a game versus the Chiefs? Did you see the ability to score 35 points per game versus the Chiefs? Did you see that? Did it look like the offense was that powerful offense? Now, that first drive was great. We ran it down their throats, and then the touchdown being called back happened. Okay. If I sound like I'm yelling, it's because someone is on the phone in the background instead of not being on the phone. But so I'm trying to yell over so that y'all can hear me and not pick up the background noise, because my mic is pretty sensitive. So anyway, that's the point. It feels like there's concessions being made, and it's one thing that Johnny Morton said when he came into when he came into the position and said he was going to dictate to the defense what they had to do. But it seems like as we've gone through the weeks, there's less dictating and more settling, right? So that's what I believe is happening. I said the last time I saw Ron in here that I'm convinced he's Broski Bear. I mean, it probably is, but he's not going to tip his hand. Could have given the ball to Montgomery on 4th and goal from the 1. He was in the backfield. See, my philosophy of 4th and 1 is don't turn around. Don't turn your back. That's my philosophy of 4th and 1. Because if you turn your back, you're more than likely you're giving up ground, and then you have to get ground. So I like a tush push. I like a quarterback sneak. I like something, a quick pass where Jared Goff stands up and just, throws it to Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams out there on the boundary, and then he just turns up the field and falls forward for a yard. I just don't like turning around, turning my back to the defensive line so I can run and hand the ball off 3 yards, maybe 4 yards deep in the backfield, and then he's got to hit the line and then get that yard through the line while you've already had them coming forward. I just don't like that play in a 4th and 1 situation. I don't like it because the pressure is coming. They're going to be run blitzing. They're going to be bringing pressure up the middle to collapse your holes and not allow you to do that. So I don't like turning around on 4th and 1. Now, if you would have put Monty under center, again, when I said, why aren't teams using tight ends like the Chiefs are for tush push and for quarterback sneak? If you don't want to put your quarterback in harm's way, motion your tight end under center, take the snap and go. All you have to do is practice it. Like, just dedicate 10 minutes, 15 minutes and practice every day for the tight end, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, whoever's going to run it, so that they can get that quarterback center exchange down properly. I just feel like that's more of a viable option than doing a trick play on 4th and 1, which the trick play was great. And obviously the league invented a new way to, take something from the Lions. But I didn't have a problem with that play. I just have a problem with turning around, handing the ball off. So on 4th and 1. Thank you guys again for supporting the Hat and Beard Show. As I said, Mr. Detroit City, man, tell him to hit me up and see if, so he can come on the show. I'm trying to get back to 1K too. Come on now. Okay, so but see, Kay, that's one of the most accurate takes that you've ever had. It's like you feel like you're trolling, but you're thinking he's Cleveland Browns Baker Mayfield. This is the new improved Baker Mayfield. This is the Baker Mayfield that they expected when they drafted him number 1 overall. This is Baker Mayfield living up to what he's supposed to live up to. Again, guys, with the Asante Samuel Jr. thing, he had spinal fusion surgery for a neck injury. If he ain't good, 100% good, with no possibility of re-injury, please keep him away from my football team, because he will be the next Emmanuel Mosley. I'm just telling you. If nobody knows why he's not in the league, again, I'm going to keep telling y'all. It's because he had spinal fusion surgery. That's why he's not in the league. That's why they're doing all the reports and evaluating and all these things and saying, getting opinions from doctors and doing checkups. Spinal fusion surgery for Asante Samuel Jr. Either he's got to stick his nose in there, or as I said, they can motion someone underneath center, a back, a tight end, whatever, and just get to going. Yes, Monty was a QB before. So that's why I said a back. So they could use Monty on QB sneaks. Which DT? You mean the one that never has only played one healthy season? I'm looking for solutions. You're talking about Brad Love and fusion players. Levi Onwuzurike, who played one healthy season. That guy? I mean, if you just want to sign him so he can take up a roster spot and sit in the locker room and hang out, that's cool. I want people that can play right now because too many players are out. Why do you hate Brock Wright so much? you feel about Brock Wright the way I feel about Colby Sorsdal. But at least Brock Wright has produced something of note. Like, he scores touchdowns and he blocks well. Colby Sorsdal sucks. He's terrible. And I hope they don't sign him to another contract because he's injured and he shouldn't be coming back. No, Davenport's not going to be back until the end of November. He's eligible to come off of IR this week, but he's not going to be back until like the end of November, apparently. Number 95 for TaylorMade. He hates Pat O'Connor. When it's all said and done, Colby didn't suck us for over 20 million career. He sucked as a roster spot. He sucked as we drafted him over Puka Nacua. Yeah, this guy, Colby Sorsdal. We drafted Colby Sorsdal instead of Puka Nacua. Everybody wants to say Broderick Martin, but no, we had another opportunity and we drafted Colby Sorsdal. So, but again, Brock Wright will have produced something. Colby Sorsdal has produced absolutely nothing at all, ever. Realistically, if we're going to not wait for our corners to come back, because both of them are slated to be back after the bye. If we want to add depth to the cornerback position, we will need to make a trade, much like the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns made the trade. They swapped corners and picks, and they were very, very late round picks. The Jags got back a 7th rounder, and the Browns got back a 6th. But we don't have any players to swap, right? If we're trying to trade with a team and they're trying to do the Jacksonville and the Cleveland deal, and they say, well, we want a cornerback. Well, who are we going to give you? Kyle Fuller? Rock Ya-Sin? Like, who are we trading you for? So that's the difficulty. Unless we get someone who's willing to just move off a person like Rick Woolen for a 6th round pick or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the asking price of the Seattle Seahawks is. But if they don't need a corner back for him, then yeah, you do something like that. But whoever it is, you've got to find a team that's willing to just take a draft pick, because if we're if they want another corner in return, we don't have anybody to trade with them. So Powers from the Raiders. If we can get him without sending somebody back, sure. I don't think the Raiders would give up Michael Mayer for the low. I don't know why you would do that. You've got two young tight ends. Yes. Bro, I've been blanking on people's names lately. I think I'm getting old. This man's name is completely escaped me. Brock Bowers. Okay. Brock Bowers is eons better than Michael Mayer, but you got two young tight ends, and they're both on rookie deals. Now, will Michael Mayer get a second deal? Maybe not. However, get rid of him for now? I don't think so. What stud safeties? So this is the thing. Brian Branch is better for us at safety. The reason he's better for us at safety is because you can't take him off the field. Remember, in the NFC Championship game, Kyle Shanahan was playing personnel groupings that kept him off the field because he was just playing nickel. So I would be opposed to that unless you are playing all three safety looks. Okay. Now, if you're playing all three safety looks, then guess what happens? You got to take a linebacker off the field. Who are you taking off the field? Because Shep loves his linebackers. So I don't think it would fit the philosophy of this team. And what stud safety are you trading for? Because you're talking about a stud, that means he's going to be high priced. And then Brian Branch is going to get a contract as well. So it's going to be really dicey if you did that. Like from a roster construction move, it doesn't make sense. Or from a roster construction view, it doesn't make sense. From a Madden roster construction view, all day. Do it all day. All day and twice on Sundays. You know? So that's just the way that shakes out. John Abrams, Raiders old safety. How old is he? Is he still in the league? If he's on the couch, I don't want him. Minkah Fitzpatrick, if Miami blows it up, Minkah Fitzpatrick does similar things to what Brian Branch does. So I don't know why we would take on the salary because you've got a similar player in Brian Branch. Minkah, he plays in the box, he plays deep. You can move him all around. So I don't know how that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Dax Hill is a hybrid of sense. Again, why are we looking for hybrid safeties? We want Brian Branch to stay on the field. What you're looking for is what I would do. I would take my focus on a nickel corner because that seems like more like what you're looking for. You're looking for a nickel, so you're going to move Brian Branch down into the nickel, which is going to limit his ability to be on the field. So, and then you're going to have a safety in his place. That's what I'm saying. So I would like more so a higher profile nickel corner because that's what he's used to doing anyway. Okay, I'm a nickel, maybe I'm playing 65-70% of the defensive snaps. And they don't even play nickel that much. So let's say 35% of the defensive snaps. So I'm going to get a guy who already does that. I'm not going to change Brian Branch back to nickel and take him off the field for 65% of the time when he's there basically 100% of the snaps. You know what I mean? Where does he play though? That if you had them both on the field at the same time, fantastic. My thing is this: the philosophy that the Lions play, you're taking off who? Shep loves Jack Campbell. Shep loves Derek Barnes. Shep said that Derek Barnes was a player that he needed back, and that was non-negotiable. And that's why Derek Barnes got that contract extension, because Shep said it was non-negotiable. Okay, that Brian Branch, or not Brian Branch, that Derek Barnes would return. Okay, so he needed that to happen. I just accepted a trip that I shouldn't have accepted because I have no idea where that is. I'm not gonna make it there. So okay, I didn't accept it. All right, cool. Um no, I'm gonna accept it. No, I'm not. It's a waste. So you're not taking anybody off the field. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't. That wouldn't fit our philosophy. They're not going to do it. Because you never know which dude's going to get hurt. I mean, that's true, but you're making a trade. You're giving up draft capital where you could give up draft capital in another area that's of need. So you're going, well, we'll get another safety just in case one of these guys gets hurt. In the meantime, we're going to take Brian Branch off the field for 65% of the time so that we can put this other guy in, just so Brian Branch can help us in a scheme or a formation that we only play 35% of the time. So I wouldn't do that. That's what I'm saying. Logically, I don't think it makes sense. Well, you stay in some drama, bro. I tell you that much. He's on the Saints. I mean, but again, he's a safety. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't see why when we have Brian Branch, we're gonna get someone that's gonna cause a conflict in what we do. When we get someone, is to improve what we do, not to cause conflict in what we do. You know what I'm saying? I could understand if someone was saying, realistically, I could understand this. And I'm not a TA hater. I understand that you need 3 years as a corner to develop. But realistically, I could understand if you guys were making the case for a corner and you go, let's move TA inside to the nickel. I could understand that because TA is not playing particularly well. He's having some issues with penalties, right? Even though he does have really good technique and his coverage is really sticky. So this would be understandable to me. But what you're saying as far as bringing in a safety when we already have 2 all-pro safeties and then moving one of our all-pros to play nickel, I don't understand how that makes sense. You get it? Like, I don't understand how that makes sense. Let's say a prayer for Chris Olave for real. Speaking of the Saints, please no more concussions for that man. Please. Did he get another one? He might have to hang it up. Yeah, he might need to hang it up. No. I mean, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Like I said, the emotions of, Sunday night were high, and Dan Campbell had a much different tone. Basically, he was like, he understands that, he knows he can't do that, and he'll be better for it. So, he said he talked to him yesterday. Everything is all good. They're not going to have him. He's suspended. It is what it is. But as far as anything else, cutting and trading, that's not gonna happen. Oh, last year he had 3. Okay. Yeah. That was my initial reaction to the way that Dan Campbell was talking, because he was like, we don't do that here. It's not okay. It's not gonna be okay. And he knows that. And the team knows that. So it was like, damn, what is he saying? You know what I mean? But as I said, as everything calmed down, it was like, nope, that's not gonna be what it is. But if people are suggesting that, yeah, that's crazy. Who else saw Spencer Rattler? And as I said, I apologize to Spinny, because last time I said his name, I said Spencer Raxter. Sucks, because they got very, very similar names. So I meant Spencer Rattler. Who else saw Spencer Rattler on QB1 in Netflix when he was in high school and said, man, this guy is a grade A douchebag? Because I've hated him since high school. You know what I mean? And he's not living up to anything in the NFL. The fact that he got to the NFL is amazing to me. Right. So there you go. All right. So let's get it in. Mailbag, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag, mailbag. Next, niggas, next. Mailbag. Get your mailbag in. Get your mailbag questions in. Bask in it. All right, let's get some mailbag questions in, and then we will go ahead and hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Oh woman, don't you treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman I've ever seen. I guess if you say so. Oh, I've got to pack my things and go. That's right. All right, y'all already know what it is. I'll be here all week. Damn, it's a good drink. All right, Taylor Made Media says mailbag. When I look at the NFC North, I see Jordan Love and his Packers in first place, and they don't play until the 19th. How much pressure will be on Jared Goff to make a play versus the Buccaneers? Again, I don't think that you go into your game thinking about who's in first place. They're in first place by like half a game or something like this. They also haven't played as many games, so if they lose their next game and the Lions win their next game, then they will be, it'll be a switch reverse type of situation once again. So again, I don't think that there's any pressure at all. The pressure is about beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's it. As far as who's leading in the NFC North at this current time, no pressure from there. What up, though, Tactical Sport? Mailbag. If the Illiches were to ever sell the Tigers and or the Red Wings, what pizza company owner would you want to buy us? Hungry Howie's. Who does the Detroit style pizza? That's not Hungry Howie's. That's the other one. I should know this because I see this stuff every day. Just out the gym getting right. Pizza Hut owners, Domino's, out with the Little Caesars. Maybe those teams will spend money to compete them. I mean, if I said Pizza Hut, maybe Papa John's. Let's go with Papa John's. Shaq spends money, right? Mailbag. How divided will the Lions fan base be if Baker Mayfield cars up Ford Field with his leadership? So here's where the division comes in. Okay. There is a segment of the fan base of the NFL who still looks at Baker Mayfield as the guy from Cleveland. And then there's a segment of the fan base in the NFL, which I'm in, that understands that Baker Mayfield has evolved and he's the leader in the clubhouse for the MVP right now. If the guy that's the leader in the clubhouse for the MVP comes in and has an MVP type of game, you can't necessarily be angry. Like, if a guy like Jake Browning comes in and has an MVP type game, then you're pissed off at your team. Because how the hell did you lose to that guy? Right? The narrative is different if you lose to a Baker Mayfield. It becomes you just didn't make enough plays. Or you just didn't stop him from making enough plays. It's understandable to lose to a guy who's the front runner for MVP. Not saying that I'm picking the Lions to lose, but I'm just saying the way that the game goes is generally predicated on who you have on the other side. Baker Mayfield is no longer a scrub. Baker Mayfield is no longer throwing stupid interceptions. Baker Mayfield ain't dropping the ball, fumbling, and all these other things. That's not Baker Mayfield this year. So if you guys want to think that that's Baker Mayfield this year, then you'll be sadly mistaken. But if you would recognize that he is the front runner for the MVP, then you'll understand and be more prepared for what's coming to to town. Jets Pizza, no. What? They're a sponsor. Buddy's Pizza. Buddy's. It's Buddy's Pizza. No. Mailbag, the Ravens cut CJ, DJ bring it back. No. He's been cut everywhere he's gone this year. So he's already been cut. What? Wait. Yes. He was cut by the Texans because he was cutting up in the locker room. And then I don't even know if he played a game I don't know if he played in a game. I don't know if he had any game time for the Ravens, but then he was cut. No, I'm sorry. The Ravens are a very, very bad passing defense. And if they cut you, nah, I don't think so. All right, mailbag. If concessions are being made with Jameson Williams routes, the trade-off is you don't really have a deep threat. Where is the verticality? I don't know. And that's the question. I don't know. When we were watching the game against the Chiefs and they had finally jumped off sides and Jared Goff had a free play. One, I didn't feel like he realized it was a free play. And two, I was like, this is where you load that arm up, pack that arm up, and you freaking launch it downfield to Jameson Williams wherever he is. That didn't happen. Where's the verticality in the offense? Where are the big plays? I don't know. But you gotta listen. Johnny Morton has to know this. If you want to get deep shots to a guy that runs, by his own claims, a 4.1 40, if you want to throw deep shots to a guy that is being schemed against by defensive coordinators, you must scheme him open. Crossing routes, rub routes, and the like need to be a part of your daily dose of getting Jameson Williams the football. Because if they're going to sit back there with 3 guys on top, pause. Right? They got 2 safeties over the top plus the corner who's tasked with covering him man. You got to scheme him open. Right? If he's running deep crossers, if he's running deep posts and deep corners, and you can get him into the gap of the zone, then that's what you do. But you got to do something different. You can't just have him run down the field on a clear out route. I mean, he's running that, like I said, I'm watching it, and he's running down, and he's taking 2 corners with him down the field. Or he's taking a corner and a linebacker down the field, or a corner and a safety down the field. He's taking 2 guys with him. So you have to do something to get him in some motion. Do something to get him the football. And then, you're not running against 8-man boxes because you can't put an 8-man box out there against the Detroit Lions, but it's just going to open up your offense a whole lot more. I understand he's opening it up by you just running the clear outs, but it's going to be a lot scarier if you actually get him the ball. Right? Because at some point in time, the NFL is going to be like, okay, well, they're not even going to throw this dude the ball. So yeah, we'll just keep carrying him on clear out routes. And then all we've got to do is have our 3 linebackers covering the flats, and we're good. We got, cover the middle of the field with your linebackers. You get a corner covering one flat. You're running combo coverage, making sure. So all of that stuff, you got to bust that coverage at some point. I know that was a long answer, but Buddy's LML, good pie, but they can barely afford a short-term Woodward Sports sponsorship. Yeah, I was, hey, it was just the name in my head. All right, mailbag. I already know the answer to this. It's no, but are we holding on to that verticality? It doesn't seem like we're holding on to it at all. Verticality, facts. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get up out of here, get back to work. I appreciate y'all for coming through, stopping by, hanging out for a drinking conversation. And I will not be here tomorrow, but if you have not, where is the thing that I'm looking for here? Okay, there it is. All right. If you have not subscribed to the Motor City Cats podcast on YouTube, please go and get your sign up, get your subscription on. Okay, get your shine on, get your shine on, get your shine on. We're gonna make it. Anyway, hashtag if use the hashtag. As I said, I will be back on Friday. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats and none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.